The objective of this video is to highlight some inherited features of Jamaican cuisine from late 19th century Caribbean labor migration to Costa Rica. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so, and if you have, please share and comment. Migrants do not travel tabula rasa. Along with their material belongings, they also bring their beliefs and other cultural expressions. In the case of late 19th century Caribbean immigrants, particularly the Jamaicans, being the larger contingent to Costa Rican shores, brought their culinary traditions which they have inherited to their Costa Rican descendants. It is important to understand that the cuisine we enjoy today from our Jamaican ancestors was already fused with other cultures, including the indigenous population, the Spanish, enslaved Africans, British, East Indians, Chinese, Syrians, and Lebanese, this due to European conquest, slavery, and colonization. The information I am sharing with you today is gathered from secondary sources, relying heavily on the publication of Olive Sr. Other references are found in the description if you are interested. The Tainos were the first inhabitants of the Greater Antilles before European conquest. Their diet consisted of cassava, potatoes, sweet potatoes, maize, beans, pineapples, chili peppers, avocado, squash, hedgehogs, weasels, bats, locusts, spiders, worms, caterpillars, bees, and ticks, raw, cooked, and fried. They prepared tortilla, porridge with the maize called atol. With the cassava or yuca, they prepared bread we know today as bami. They made one-pot meals and soups. They contributed with the pepper pot and barbecue sauce to the Jamaican culture and to the rest of the world the process of barbecuing. The first Europeans to the island of Jamaica were the Spanish, who, based on their racist bias, considered that the indigenous food was not nourishing, hence the reason for their deaths and illnesses, forcing them to import their food from Spain and other parts of Europe, considered to have the best food. Secondary sources continue to inform that some of the food they brought to the islands include wheat bread, wine, olive oil, lamb, beef, pork, chickpeas, melones, radish, goats, ginger, plantain, banana, sugarcane, coconut, figs, lemons, among others. Their contribution to the Jamaican cuisine is the scabiche fish. The Spanish were the first to bring enslaved Africans to Jamaica. These ancestors came from West and Central Africa and brought their knowledge of food preparation, many adapted to the cruel environment of slavery. Our African ancestors were not coming from one region. Therefore, it is not responsible to make a blank statement in terms of their diets. Secondary sources explain that they slow-cooked one-pot dishes, soups, and stews eaten with a cornmeal flatbread called Johnny Cakes. Today, it has evolved into Jamaican fried dumplings. They also had as part of their diet cornmeal porridge, ackee from West Africa, yam, dukunu, fufu, mackerel, rondong, among others. England was the second European country to colonize Jamaica, and this went on for 300 years. Their diet consisted of Cornish pasties. With Jamaican spices and seasoning, it evolved into what we know today as the Jamaican patty. They also had in their diet hot cross bun, enjoyed particularly during Good Friday, breadfruit that they brought from Oceania, black pepper, June plums, turmeric, pies, jams, porridge, and marmalades, among other cuisine. They contributed to Jamaican Christmas cake. After slavery was abolished, the plantation owners brought East Indians in 1845 on contract to work on the sugar plantations. After the contract was over, some returned to India and others migrated to other Caribbean islands, including Trinidad and Guyana. They brought coolie plum, mango, jackfruit, roti, tamarind, cannabis, and spices like curry powder. They contributed to the national Jamaican dress called bandana, their spices, and curries. Chinese also came as indentured servants in 1854 and they contributed with soya sauce, sweet and sour chicken, among other cuisine. The Maroons mix African cooking with the Taino's cooking styles, incorporating local herbs and spices like Scotch bonnet to their dishes. The Maroons developed jerk seasoning, which was used on barbecue chicken and pork.
I have seen since I've been living here that I feel so much at home among the Afro-descendant population because basically almost everything that is shared to me in terms of food is the same. So for example, I can talk about Ackee. I see a lot of Ackee trees in Limon. That's something that we eat. As a matter of fact, that's the national dish of Jamaica. I see breadfruit, again, a very, very important part of the Jamaican food culture. Callaloo, soup, drinking of a lot of soup. And also we can talk about things like codfish and pigtail and oxtail. These are some things that definitely I can say are similar in terms of the food here in Jamaica. You can also look at desserts such as plantain tart, patties. Those also are things that we have back in Jamaica. Interestingly, here you have something called pambum. And I would say that is similar to something we have in Jamaica called bun, which is what we eat at Easter time with a little cheese in it also. The drinks are similar. The fruit juices that you make here, similar to what we have in Jamaica. Also, I must not forget the rundown. Again, that's a very classical dish that we have in Jamaica. So definitely, there are a lot of similarities in terms of food that I can make a comparison between here and Jamaica.
Other food retention that Reverend Darren did not mention include rice and beans and greater cake, among many others.
But I realize that the things in Jamaica that we adopted from the East Indians, I don't see them here. And the bandana is one of them. As I was hinting at earlier, the post-colonial Jamaica, the culture of post-colonial Jamaica was informed a lot by not only the African enslaved people, but also the immigrants who came afterwards to fill the spaces of the Africans who were working on the plantations, who were called indentured laborers. So after the slave trade was abolished in 1838, we had persons coming from mainly, the majority of them came from India. We had some from China. We had some from Lebanon. Another group came from Germany. And another group came from Africa. There were some Africans from Nigeria who actually came to be a part of the indentured labor. So we can say, for example, that some of the things that they would have brought with them did not become established as a part of the Jamaican culture immediately. It took some time. And one of those things is the bandana, as we said before. But another thing is curry goat. You can't talk about Jamaica today and don't talk about curried goat. That is a main part of our diet as Jamaicans. No, that's something that I don't see here. So for me, that obviously didn't become established enough as a part of the culture, of a part of our DNA at that time. So Jamaica, as I say, you get your curry goat, you get your curry chicken with a little roti and some other, you know, Indian stuff. So that is another thing. When you go to any Jamaican celebration, you get a soup called manish water. Again, that doesn't exist here. Why? Because the manish water is made with goat. And goat, as a part of our culture, again, was something that came post-colonial. You know, the eating of the goat meat. And so in manish water, you have the goat head, the inside, the intestines, all the parts of the goat that you would not cook as curry. You use that for the manish water. And it's served at any celebration, a birthday party, funeral, whatever. You have to get a cup of manish water.